Ready, books. All right, we're back with a banger of a chapter. It's a chapter we've been waiting for a very long time. I'm talking back since the revenge arc. This is the chapter where we start off the spar between Miyata and the GOAT, Ricardo. Now, the very first page, we saw an outside view of Kawahara Gym. Now you notice this gym is used for a lot of good training. A lot of people come here when they come to Japan to fight, and they train at this gym. It's got high esteem, especially because Miyata's there. David Eagle is trained here, and so is Date Iji. And they always call Miyata the virtual Ricardo, or he's been said to be virtual Ricardo. Him and Vogue kind of go hand in hand with that. So it's almost like the old school versus the new school. They're gonna see who the true school is. So people are outside crowding the gym, and you see the bystanders just talking. One guy's like, "What's up with all these people? There's some famous artists here or something?" Another one says, "Nah, I think they're shooting a movie." Another one says, "Nah, man, that's the legendary champion there." Another one says, "Legendary." Again, a big shout out to the Scanulators, the Discord, Tiny CC, LMGS, translated by Becca Block, Papa J, and Papa J. Big shout out to you guys, really love you. HNI Scantrat and Good Sir Scanulations, excellent. Mwah. Keep up the good work, man. Keep up the good work. Next page, we see Ricardo jabbing some poor soul. He's just running through these sparring partners. He's just taking them down. These people are talking in the back. It's an honor. It's a huge honor for Ricardo to use our gym. The levels are too different, so none of them fighters can spar him. But still, look at all their faces. Mari says, just being in the same room with him is enough to get you fired up. And I think it's the gym owner says, there's only one guy not feeling the same. Mari says, he's obviously not happy about this. And we get a glance at Miyata on the corner sulking like he always does. He always got an attitude. Like, don't you ever have a good day? We get next panel, we see Bill telling Ricardo to stop. He's just pummeling the sparring partner. Bill says, you don't need to get serious. This is just a maintenance check. Ricardo says, I met Tigre, which I love the lore in this show and how they talk about each other. Like the board, the Dempsey role, Tigre. Like I like the nicknames he gives his opponents and things like that. Or how he's the sun god. And if you might remember, last chapter they passed by each other and Sendo had to keep everything inside from attacking him. We don't know what's happening to Sendo's grandmother, but he's fired up for this match. Ricardo knows he can't back down. Ricardo says, in the morning by the castle. Bill says, what? Ricardo says he was ready. And you just see a silhouette of Sendo's eyes in a frenzy and a castle in the background. Beautiful scenery. Beautiful scenery. Fighting the tiger at the castle. I don't know if this is part of some folklore or tale. If it is, someone drop it in the comments for me, please. Let me know. But this is a dope panel. Next, we see Bill saying, I see. So that's why you're fired up. He says, just make sure you don't get injured. Next, because mind you, Vogue got injured sparring with Ippo. So maybe like how things kind of go hand in hand in the story. How they kind of repeat themselves. Like how the Wally fight kind of the same way as the Kimabokuro fight. Things like that. Or how a storm came with David Eagle. And then a storm came with Dragon. And it stopped when he got there. And the storm was coming with Ricardo. But it stopped when he got there. Now, go back to Bill. Bill saying, please and thank you not to injure this fighter. Miyata thinks, finally, my turn. His father in his back. Oi, the headgear. Miyata steps in without the headgear. Then we get a stare down. We see Ricardo warming up in the back, and Miyata Ricardo warming up in the front, Miyata in the back, putting in the mouth guard. Ricardo says, no headgear. Miyata simply responds, you're not wearing any.
Woo! Oh, this shit is lit, nigga. Wow, this shit is lit. That's lit. That's lit. That's lit. I'm bringing that shit back. Lit. This is fire. That's lit.
So Miyata's already talking spicy for the spar even starts. I'm liking the way he's kicking off. Like, okay, let's get it in. We're not friends. We're here for business.
Oh no, this nigga's going in.
And the crowd is kind of looking, silent, not saying anything. And Miyata thinks to himself, I'm his third. After 2 opponents, he must be tired. Plus, there's his weight control. And on top of that, no headgear. He's looking down on me too much. Miyata's a prideful person. He respects his style to the utmost degree in his family name. Remember, he almost cried after he beat Arnie Gregory. He's not going to look down on, especially not his own gym, especially by a foreigner. Nah, it's going to be problems. And Ricardo says, let's begin. Reach out his hand to touch gloves. Gym owner says, this is going to be okay. Lumi says, I'm excited. Father says, good grief. Bell dings and we're off to the races. Now, I want it to be noted that Miyata did not touch Ricardo's hand, or if he did, we did not see it. So it's already bad blood starting off. The next panel, we see them in their stances. Ricardo's in his classic style, not too high, not too low, very textbook. And Miyata is in his Detroit style, hitman style, depending on who you ask. We snap to Bill, and he's thinking, Ichiro Miyata. He's ranked number 5 in the WBA and WBC. It wouldn't be strange for him to challenge us sometime soon. Well then. And then we see Ricardo throw that ghost jab, that classic jab that stopped Ippo and that would made Date scared to get past the second round. You know, got past that jab. And behind that jab lurks his true form, the true devil he really is. But get back to it. The crowd is stunned. Ricardo made the first move. See a glimpse of Miyata's eyes. He sees the punch and dances around. He already starts using his speed hail off rip. As you know, the speed hail is a move that takes a lot of energy out, but is used to end the match in the first early rounds. But if it drags on to later rounds, the fatigue sets in. It's a double-edged sword. So it's not often used, and it's better to just kind of take your pace and slow down. But Miyata wants to make a statement with this. He's not trying to have a regular sparring match. He wants to defeat this man, and if not defeat him, at least show how well Ippo smashes will work on the world stage. This, although it is an ego contest to see if he can win, it is also reconnaissance for his friend. Now, Miyata dances right behind Ricardo, and the whole crowd is stunned at his speed. And they say, this is so fast. Ricardo loads up another jab. Miyata loads up his jabs as well. And then they have a battle of jabs. I take that back. He didn't load up his jab. He just stepped through. He's dodging all of Ricardo's jabs. He throws 3 in rapid succession, and Miyata dodges every single one of them. He's right outside the distance, begins to sway past him and weave past him. And then Miyata loads up his jab. And while he's loading it up, you see the thunder in the background. He's entering his thunder god form. Which, side note, I like the idea of like how Ippo's a wind god, Saramura has bullet jabs, and Ichiro Miyata's the electricity god. I like that part. They add that into the story. But I originally thought he was throwing a corkscrew punch, like his corkscrew counter, because it hasn't been seen since the Randy Boy Jr. fight. But he gonna use that here now? Those are under certain conditions. But no, it's a simple jab. But as he's loading up, you see the thunder electricity in the back, just showing the speed. And he throws it, and Ricardo catches it with his glove. His right glove, he stops it, he parries it. As Ricardo throws his own jab out, everyone's like, wow, they're astonished that he made some contact. You know, it wasn't on the face or anything for points, but he still got close to him. He steps in and throws his left again, a series of lefts. Ricardo sees him. He's weathering the storm calmly. Hands up, standard guard, not breaking eye contact. Miyata's throwing him. It seems almost flickers, honestly, because the angles are coming kind of strange. They're not straight down, straight through. Maybe throwing flickers out the way to see if something lands inside. But still, Ricardo is weathering the storm. We see the next panel. He's dodging, and the crowd is looking just astonished. And then Ricardo starts to knock the blows away. He begins knocking them away and steps in to throw his own jab again. Miyata dances to the side, steps away from him as he throws his own jab to counter, and Ricardo catches the jab again, parrying the back of the glove. And it's jab for jab, jab for jab, as they both catch each other's punches and they slowly get closer to each other. Even though Ricardo keeps trying to push in, Miyata continues to take the distance, and their jabs continue to clash. But it looks on. It says throbbing sound effect, and it sees that Miyata has actually taken a punch. He's been grazed on the mouth. Ricardo has not been hit yet. Still stares at Miyata with his hands up high, standard guard, looking determined. The crowd is shocked. They begin talking. Whoa, the hell was that? Is this a world title match? And they're acting like it's no big deal. Bill thinks to himself. So, there were still fighters of this caliber among Japan's featherweights. Which, 2 things. They're looking down on Japan as boxers like Ruslan did. And, like how it shows Date Iji, Sendo Takashi, Ippo Makinochi. Mainly the 2 in the back. Because he's already met up with Sendo. So I'm hoping he meets up with at least these other 2 before he leaves and has a conversation with them. Just to, not even shoot the air, but say something ominous. And maybe with Date Iji, I think he might apologize to him. Mark my words. If he apologized to Date Iji, I'll make a video about it. But he'll check on him, make sure he's still doing good, and hope that he can forgive him. Because Ricardo, although he is the main villain, the big bad, he's a devil. He's a kind devil. I've noticed that. He didn't want to make Date Iji become an unfortunate accident, but he wasn't going to lose either. And Ippo will just see how interested he is in fighting him. Hopefully, be able to meet in the ring again. That's what I want from this encounter in Japan. But we'll just see. It snaps back to Miyata Senior. He says, "You survived, but he managed to land. He still managed to land one." And then Miyata thinks to himself, "Of course he did. All right then." Miyata Senior says, "Time to." Miyata says, "Gear up." Now I don't know if they were just having this. They were looking at each other when they were saying this, or this is what both they're thinking on the side. I want to think that at one point in time they glanced over to one another.
You ought to be the fuck ashamed of yourself, nigga. What's up with you?
And their bond has kind of put them on the same wavelength. So Miyata's already putting up a gear. Now, as a fan, I love this. He's not pulling punches, he's getting right into it. But as a coach, I'd be like, well, damn, he's gonna push this far. Hasn't even been a minute in yet. Like, fuck. Like, like he's really pushing my power to the limits. And he's staying so calm in the middle. He's keeping center ring, not doing too much dancing. He's not taking any hits either, but he's landing hits. So I'd be concerned if this was my fighter, try to think of a strategy I could give him. And we see a panel of Miyata bouncing up, getting his speed right. The next panel disappears. It just shows the spot on the mat where the sound effect makes me jump away and little specks of rubber from his shoes. And he's gone. He's in a whole nother gear, speeding up again, using those legs and whole body. He comes at Ricardo at supersonic speeds, like a bull. He dances around him and comes at him from behind. Falls. But supersonic speeds, comes at Ricardo. And even the whole crowd's like, he got even faster. It shows a glimpse of Miyata staring down Ricardo in his like sped out motion. And just as he gets closer, all you see is Ricardo's jab come out, stopping right before Miyata's face. I don't think he was feinting him. I think he was really about to hit him if he stepped in a little bit closer and Miyata caught himself from stepping in. Even at that high supersonic speed, he was still stopped by Ricardo with his ghost jab. Sheesh! Can nothing get through to this man? Is he unbeatable? Also, side note, this pose reminds me when Gon was fighting Hisoka in Heaven's Arena, how he stopped halfway and punched him with an uppercut. I kind of wish that was going to happen. And in the next panel, we see Miyata with a stunned look on his face and like he's holding his breath. Cold sweats breaking out in his body as he sees the fist in front of him. And he jumps back immediately, almost like prey. Like when prey sees a predator, like a mouse sees a cat and stops instinctively. It seemed like that. Stopped him in his track, and Miyata starts to think. As soon as I thought he was about to throw a punch, his fist was already in front of me. Already. The crowd is stunned. Miyata Senior is scratching his head. I wonder if he doesn't have a plan for his child. And then Miyata thinks to himself, strike first, strike at the same time, and then strike after. He doesn't let his opponent do anything. Damn it all. Bam, bam. He's thinking, this is basically my idea style. The fist he's been pursuing all his life is right now in front of his face as we get a panel of Miyata being punched by that left from Ricardo. Whew, sheesh.
Ah, man.
I mean, where do I really even start? First off, thank you to George Morikawa for finally giving us this. And the wait wasn't even long. I won't say that. The wait was not long. It was well worth it. The build-up is crazy. We've been hearing like little glimpses and slivers of there, like, oh, they're similar to each other and fastest in the world and da-da-da-da. Like, even when oh, shoot. Let me start this. Let me restart. No restart. You get it how it is. No restart. No editing this time. When, sheesh, I'm forgetting his name. Kronos. It's dope Kronos. I'll think of his name later. When he won the speed test against Psyche, and his friend was at Kawahara Gym saying, oh, he's the fastest in Japan. And I was like, fastest in Japan? That's cool. The fastest in the world. That's come back together now because as Miyata was preparing to hit him, waiting for his counter, his fist was already up. Ricardo's fist was already there. So he's faster than Miyata, especially receiving and reflexes and things like that. Receiving punches and seeing when punches are coming. Probably reads the shoulders and things of that nature. And then Miyata is like, to hit without get hit, you got to give them an opportunity to hit, to use your counters. That's the style he's been chasing, his father's style he thought was perfect. And this is the style he's facing up against right now. He's facing his final form. And I don't know how crazy this is going to get. Right now he's been jabbed once. He got a first clean hit of the match. We're going to see how long he lasts. I think he's going to go for at least 3 rounds, but we'll see. Well, at least it can't go past 3 rounds anyway because it's just a sparring match. I do want to get a little serious and land a hit or two, you know? Now, I know Ricardo has that air of invincibility and things like that, but I want to see him get hit. I don't think he got hit in the Sendo fight. I think Sendo just leaned on him because that's what the newspaper kind of showed when he fell over. He just played into it, but I want to see him take a punch and a counter, and even say Miyata throws a joke counter or just like an overhand regular counter, he next spins it and then counters his counter like what Wally did. Man, that'd be crazy. So, looking forward to this spar, how it goes on. I think we have another 5-6 chapters of it. I'm loving how the spars are getting a lot of attention. Even back when Ippo sparred against Mashiba. Not saying they don't, but this one specifically. And also how whenever Ricardo touches down, he changes the whole landscape and pace of the story. Because whatever, it's not, even though this is a reconnaissance mission for Sendo, now Miyata's going to learn something too. About how he can use his style better, how he can perfect it, and how move forward. And he's ranked number 5. So his next fights are about to be crazier. And I want Miyata to fight someone that is similar to Wally or Brian Hawk, because he hasn't had a wild fight yet. I need him to have like a wild person he fights up against. And yeah, that's all I got for this one, you guys. Taking that like button, please consider giving me a follow. We're so close to 100, and look forward for the next rounds of the Rumble City. It's going down. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you next round.